Welcome back to Reaper Pro Tips with me, your host and disembodied hands, Quindy, disembodied beard John, and probably earless Kurnico. Are you earless? Yes, and have no ears. All right. Just checking. No ears. There we go. Okie dokie. I was bemoaning to David the lack of, top tier female mini painters in today's world last night. I think that was why I had dreams about competition painting the night before last. Because we used to have quite the little, kind of, gang going, right? Liliana and Jennifer and me and Sue and Noelle and Marika and Jess and there were a couple others as well. There we go. Yes, we're doing the gothy, the non-goth. But now it's there is apparently there is one girl going to the thing that David was invited to in Vegas this weekend. So that makes me feel better. Because if they had invited any girls, I would be like, ugh. I really just don't want it to become a boys' game again. For a while there, the girls were up there, and, Jennifer and Marika, and, PK now, not Jess, since they changed their name. But yeah, they could take on anybody, right? And I feel like that's, now I'm seeing more and more of a slide back to the olden days of it being a boys' club. And I don't like that. I feel like we fought to show that we could be just as good. And David's well, maybe girls aren't as competitive. I'm like, don't give me that crap. Girls are every bit as competitive as guys. It's just you have to have somebody in there holding the door open saying, no, this is really for us. I'm going to put the gold in. I'm annoyed at that scabbard, so I'm just going to do a quick base coat on my rich leather just to block that in so I know what color it is. Oh, that's sad, Quindy. That is so sad when they do that. So sad. All right. And then we're going to work on various pieces of maybe we'll work on the gray and the silver, maybe a bit. I used the same gray starting out for the NMM as I did for the cloth. But I think I'm going to probably add some shadows in a slightly different color. I have to be careful because I've got colors on the model already. And it's easy to get something that clashes. Oh. Can you find it and buy up a stock so that you have it, Quindy? Or is it just gone? Canceled colors are always canceled for the same reason. Okay, no, there's two reasons. The two reasons that things are canceled is that either they don't sell or somebody higher up has the impression that they are not popular or don't sell. Which can be created not by the fact that they actually don't sell, but by the fact that they don't sell as well as other things, right? You found one on Amazon? Yeah. That way at least you've got it for emergencies, for special occasions, for when you really just don't have the time to retouch your lipstick. Being somebody who doesn't wear lipstick, I can still, appreciate this because of times in my life where I've had to wear lipstick. I'm going to add just a little bit of the black and brown to the gold to make it darker. Now, this is one of the colors, if you've bought black and brown recently, be aware it had shifted a little bit darker than it originally was. And that's important when you're doing this adjustment to this NMM gold, because it will go green with the new color, but it'll stay brown with the old. The way to correct it, if you're going to use the black and brown to get better coverage, is to do it, and then put just a little bit of oxidized red or red oxide into it. That will fix it. Because it'll go green, so you need to add red. You always, whenever a color shifts in a way you don't like, add the complementary color. Just a little bit of the clear will usually do it, or something that's close to a clear. Ah, I see. Gotcha. Well, you pay what you pay. I think with makeup you do get what you pay for, though, Quindy. Like, kind of expensive, but always so good is... Now, some of it, yeah, you pay for it and it's not as good, which is a shame. But in general, the good stuff is not cheap. It was my experience. Solidarity. Kuroniko in solidarity. Awesome, Kuro. Alright, so the only pieces of, like, gold hardware on this model are, like, the hilts and scabbard ornamentation of the blades. So we're going to do that way. I think technically this one was silver. I did it silver. I'm second guessing myself now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to block in the gold on the sword and the scabbard. And then I'm going to question if there's something else in here that I really need to go gold in order for it to have kind of like a balance, color balance. Finding out that Griffin Tan was gone all over again. Oh, Koro, I'm not able to share any of my top secret stuff with you. Just such a shame. Guess I should get going on that other top secret project that I have so that maybe I can in the future. So much top secret. So much. I also have to write Ron an email. The thing to understand about the miniatures industry today is that it never thought it was going to be in this position, and only 3D printing has pushed it to this position. So I see a lot of parallels right now between the book situation and the miniature situation. The miniature situation, those companies, a lot of these companies have been around for a long time, like Reaper. But now they have to deal with new technology, right? And this is a lot like when traditional publishing had to suddenly deal with Kindle, new technology, and Kindle also making publishing open to anybody, right? Self-publishing. And what happens when you go from a limited market to a saturated market, everybody having tons of choices instead of everybody just having a few choices, is that you can no longer just put stuff out and hope it will sell. Like, producing fast used to be, when the market is limited, producing things fast is an asset. When the market is saturated, it is no longer an asset to produce things quickly. Instead, you have to produce things that are good. And so you have to figure out what is good in this market, right? So it takes like some, at the very least, some research and market understanding. Yeah, a lot of it is pretty terrible. That was my experience too. Hey there, Trash. Oh, the Cathay Dragon is 115. Yeah. Their dragons are very expensive. It's why I hesitated to buy one of their dragons before for my Dragon Master class. I probably will shell out for the Cathay dragon because I think David will share the cost with me because he wants the human figure. So if you want the dragon, but you don't care about the human, Kuro, somebody tell Kuro, sorry. Maybe find somebody you can split the box with. And then it'll only be half. Or, 3/4. Yes, exactly. Super saturation. Yeah. No, we're not, Val. Not at all, actually. I'm talking about Reaper's Quandary in general and the industry in general. But yeah, I mean, if you look at it, the move away from original bones, and that's got several different facets, right? Tariffs are one of them now. Definitely. But definitely the 3D printing and the Siocast are higher quality, right? So instead of just like putting out a ton of stuff, again, you go back to producing things that are higher quality. Things that people consider good. And sometimes it's not immediately evident what people consider good, so you have to like take a chance or you do some market research or whatever, right? Game companies, not really famous for doing market research. It's been a very fly-by-night industry for a very, very long time. But now it's becoming, more necessary to do that, to have that mental set where you're like, okay, we can't just put out stuff. We're not going to get ahead that way. We need to put out good stuff. So now we have to define what is good for our target customer, right? Oh no, Kuro. But yeah, and my the reason I bring this up is that I was just watching a video from my writing coach this morning, where she was kind of talking about this. That when the market is saturated, then you can't go do more. Doing more doesn't net you anything. Doing better nets you things. Yeah. So the challenge of all, like, and this includes Reaper, but the challenge of all the miniatures companies, the older ones now, is to figure out, what is good. Like, how can we move away from just putting stuff out, and how can we identify what's the thing the market wants that we can give them, right? And make it higher quality, as high quality as you can manage. Which these days pretty much means like very high quality 3D printing, great detail, great sculpt, But again, you can, like, who's your target audience? Like, you can't please everybody. Sometimes you have to focus. So I think that's I've been thinking about this since I was a Reaper, when I talked about this kind of thing with a couple of people. It's just it's a big challenge, right? But yeah, this has nothing to do with the paint, actually. This is purely just general industry kind of thing. And it's why I think you see a lot of companies that were built in the old style. For example, Big Child. Although there are probably other examples, maybe, that without those extenuating circumstances. But, yeah, speak for board games. It's gone rather than what is good, rather how effective your marketing. Yes. And I think that's the next stage, Trash. Yes, Kickstarter is littered with the corpses of horrid games with excellent marketing campaigns bringing in 7 figures. Yeah, because good isn't always, when you're in an industry like games, good isn't always the actual quality of the product so much as the perception of the quality of the product, right? Marketing with a capital M. I don't enjoy that kind of thing. I think you can be perfectly successful in this market focusing on quality and actually delivering it rather than marketing everything to a crazy level. Because eventually what happens is word of mouth catches up with you, right? So, like, I can think of a couple of board games, big fantasy adventure board games, that hyped up, went big on Kickstarter, and then just kind of dropped off the earth because the actual playing experience just wasn't there. I mean, we still have old bones. We can still the old bones, Val, was originally created to do paint and take. Right? And I don't know if Reaper is really moving away. And again, I'm not party. Like, even though I was just there, I was not talking about the greater business with the people who matter. So any information you get off of Reaper Live is newer information. But if Reaper is really moving away from old bones, you know, one would hope that they would still keep a selection of those going for paint and take stuff. Or if they find a way to produce that's, you know, inexpensive, like if 3D printing becomes more inexpensive or whatever, if they can find a way to do it that's less expensive, maybe they can still produce models at discount for paint and take figures. You may not be able to choose the models, though. Like back in the day when we had paint and take kits, it was a pre-selected bunch of models. Oops, sorry. And when I try to get close, I get off camera, but we're just base coating. Yeah, perception is reality for some folks, for sure. Oh, no. That's bad, Dabber. Yeah, I have a fountain pen. It hasn't blorfed because I bought a very expensive one. It doesn't really blorf. It sometimes gets my fingers, though. No, it does not, Valandar, at ReaperCon. If your single figure is on a plinth of the backdrop, it can be fastened onto that plinth. I mean, we're still going to try to see behind it to see if you painted the back. Don't get me wrong. Right, yeah, I knew they were moving away from metal. I didn't think they were moving away from bones, except maybe to put out fewer new models in the old bones, which makes sense because, again, we're in a market where quality is rewarded, where good is rewarded. And although old bones are cheap, and they do very well for monster figures, the majority of Reaper's releases are characters. And the 3D print stuff is far superior as far as characters. As we could see from the excellent quality of the turtle guy that I prepped yesterday. Really? That's not one I ever made. It's got to be that's got to be one that they created for after I was gone. Maybe not for a Kickstarter, maybe a ReaperCon color, maybe a limited ReaperCon color trash. But I never created. That's not one of mine. I didn't like non-descriptive fantasy names when I was naming things. Greenwood purple means nothing to me. Like, it doesn't tell the customer anything if they don't have the lore. They're just like, well, what's that mean? Right? And that's not really my shtick. That's how you can tell it's not an and color. The exception to that is like Ritterlich blue. But that was fan service for Ron, actually. Ron really wanted us to use some Aidenese IP. It's shared with a minty mocha. Yeah, also not mine because food name. Don't assume it, Val, because like I said, old bones is still like the best medium to produce monsters in. Bigger monsters. And Reaper's not going to stop producing bigger monsters, to my knowledge. But you don't want to, like, 3D print dragons. It's going to cost $1 million to, like, put that on sale, right? It's like, that's not really a doable model right now. Maybe in 5 or 10 years when the 3D printers have gotten ridiculously fast and good, it is. But not right now. I never assume any of this stuff. It's never a fast process. Like, it's not like Reaper just dumps China, right? We're just gonna dump bones. No, that's not a. There's like a. It's just like metal. Like it's a scaling back. It's a scaling down. It's a more or less self-fulfilling prophecy because, you know, as you produce less of it, people encounter it less, they buy it less. But right now, I don't think there's a good way for us to do the big monsters, the dragons, for example, other than in bones. The mystery continues, trash. Yeah, that sounds like a Reaper or a holiday set. That's what it sounds like to me, like a ReaperCon or a holiday paint color. I mean, the person to ask is actually Benita. I could text her. Hold on. As usual, if I don't know the answer, I know who does. Let's see here. Question on stream. What's the background? Hold on, I'll just type this in. She might not get back to me right away. And she may not, if she wasn't the one who made them, then we'll see if she even has the formula. There. I have hereby... Well, of course. I mean, we like people who derail our streams. I thought that was clear. But yeah, that wasn't too bad as far as derailment goes. I mean, I could whip out the Dragon Trapper's Lodge, my mini factory page I was just looking at with the cool river dragon and say, like, who paints this? There we go. I forgot we have to, it's across his body. All right, so I want to put that there. I want to back up a little. I want to see. I'm going to ignore the concept art from here on out. We've used the concept art for what we're going to use it for. Now I want to look at where do I need touches of gold. And right away, all my gold is down here. I probably need to make this little necklace gold right here. Because I want 3 points. And I don't want to do the shield because the shield is obviously part of the armor, which is silver. Cool. Glad to know it was valuable, Val. I just put out the OSL one yesterday for my Patreon peeps. And we'll do one more OSL one, and then that's, I think, where I'm going to just stop it on the free YouTube stuff anyway. The other thing I can think about again was doing the dagger here. I think I almost have to, and I think I need to go gold with these buttons on the sleeve. Even if the concept art doesn't have it that way. I'm going to ignore, like I said, we're going to depart from the concept art now. I want contrasting colors. I don't want everything to be the same. All right, yeah. And I think I'm going to go and assume that make the dagger and this a match set. The fact that the handle of the dagger is between this piece of silver and the gray of the sleeve means I want it to be different. So sometimes don't stick to the concept art if you don't want to, right? Like, use it as a guide. It's usually concept art when you have it, colored concept art, at least lets you see, like, it gives you a general palette of colors that will work well together. But there are also things that a 2D artist can do to increase contrast that you don't have access to. Like on the model, all these things are more spaced out. Hey there, Daffodweir. I mean, I started using... I've used well for all of my bigger pieces too, Val. I just use a bigger brush. Bigger paint pool, bigger brush. Like, for base. And often, like... But it's not that different for me. I don't think it's really that different at all, except that I have, like, more... There's more ground to cover, so I'll, like, make more transition colors sometimes. Or I'll wet blend more. It doesn't matter. But I mean... bigger model just means more room for textures these days. It used to be, if you wanted to do smooth, or if you're painting a model that you need to do smooth, like, then it works to have, like, maybe more transitions from your dark to your light mixed up on your palette, but you can also just wet blend everything, so... Okay. So that's better. So now I've got some gold up here, I've got gold here, 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 so I've got kind of a trail of gold around the model, which is what I kind of wanted. Okay. Keeks, that's a no. Settle down now. Well, the windows are open, so she can hear everything. I wanted to look at that little scroll. I will look at his, Oh, hey, a response from Benito. Hold on. Okay. Gotcha. Okay, so Minty Mocha may not be something that you can actually order. Trash, are you still in chat? I need to let you know this. But it was a special custom paint that she made for a streamer, Mocha, as a memorial for her mod / ReaperCon goer that had passed away. She asked for a prank color or nonsense color, so she mixed her a minty green with red and blue flake that reflected purple. It was a very limited run for her to pass out at ReaperCon and is not in general release. Like, she has not made it since. Like, that was the only batch, period. So because it was made as a special memorial thing for Mocha, I don't think it's one that you include on that sheet. How about Greenwood Purple? So yeah, I would assume that one is out of play. I wouldn't want to offend Mocha. You might be able to get permission from her, in which case you could put it back on the sheet, but I would definitely check with Mocha before putting that up there as possible for order. It's really, at that point, I probably would just say nope. I would kind of like play in the fact that if you're going to contact Mocha about it, it might be a bad memory for her. Like, it might bring up, bad memories or grief. Yeah, exactly. I would just say nope. Oh, okay. Got it. So Greenwood Purple is the same. Greenwood Purple and Minty Mocha are the same color. Mocha had originally given, like, because she asked for a nonsense color, she had originally just given that as, like, for example name. And then once Benita made it, it was, because it was minty, she renamed it. Yeah, so they are the same color. Okay, so now we can talk about who the heck paints this? Like, how do you paint this? It's a ball of dragon. Like, unless it's really separated out, but this looks like just a pain to get. Like, how? Right? Like, it's neat. It's neat, but, like, how? I'm gonna go and see if there are alternate, like, pictures of it in different positions. No, it does not come with different positions. Well, that's obnoxious. Now I don't know. Now I don't know how it looks from the back or from the side. I'm not gonna, like, bother with it. Like, interesting, sure, but would you ever use it on anything? Like... Yes. Right. But I think it is a Mocha permission thing. It's her color. So if it's not worth it for Trash to seek out permission, then just, like, deal with it, guys. Like, if you want it again, then ask Mocha if she'll ever have it made again. And you can pass along to her that Benita is happy to make more of it if she wants it, but it's definitely Mocha's color, and we should not make it for her. Yeah, well, you're just going to have to talk to Mocha about it. Yeah. Like, it might be worth to drop her something. I don't think I've got Mocha on text, actually. Or I would maybe drop her a message, but for you, Trash, but I don't think I actually do, so... I mean, it's the same as the ones I just did a feature on, right? That blue one with the red shift and the light, like, green lime one with the red shift. Like, they look like color shift, but they're not actually color shift. They're just a metallic in a different base, but they give that rough feel. All right. Okie dokie. So we got our golds figured out. I've got a little bottle there. I do need to figure out that. That's right. I was going to look up concept art and get that little cylinder. Yeah, literally not worth the effort. Yep. Yeah, just let people know that that won't be. If they request it, sorry, guys. Now, if one of them wants to, like, you know, go to Mocha and get permission from her, you can put it back on Trash. You could always, like, you know, foist off the responsibility if you really wanted to. But I assume if any of the people asking for a new Mocha, they would ask her about it. So... Hold on, I want to get back to our concept art of this guy. There it is. All right. All right, so it's just a plain silver cylinder. That's very, very unhelpful. And this actually needs to be black with green if we do that. So, all right. All right. Excellent. More black then. Well, then that person needs to contact Mocha Hyper. It's as simple as that. You can want something all you want, but sometimes it's just not going to happen. And in this case, in something that was a memorial paint, I certainly would never do that without checking with that person. I mean, I guess you could do it and rename it something else, but it's just, I don't know. For me, it's disrespectful. Maybe other people wouldn't agree. Maybe Mocha wouldn't care. But you want to take that chance? Like, seriously? Like, if I made a paint in honor of, like, Ed, and it was just a special thing, and I just wanted it to do it for, like, say, 1 year, and then somebody went off and got Reaper to just make it, I would actually be pretty offended. Like, I wouldn't, like, go crazy or anything, but I would definitely not be thrilled with that result. Because it was meant to be. Sometimes it's just meant to be a special thing. And we get this FOMO in our head that we've missed out on something, but sometimes we do. And it's not an emergency or terrible that we did. All right, I'm going to just get in here and do some black. This is like figuring out what everything is on this model is just like ridiculous. Hyper, again, if that person wants it, they need to contact Mocha and ask if it's okay for Trash to put it on this list. And they need to, like, forward the email or text that it is okay to Trash. That's it. Period, I think. It may be a good thing, it may be a bad thing. My point is, you don't know unless you ask the person who requested it. And again, one person really wanting something does not break the world. Like, there are lots of things I wish I had, especially that puppy that I passed on a couple months ago. That still makes me kind of cry when I think about it. But, like, sometimes we just can't get what we want, and that's okay. Life would be kind of weird if we always could get what we wanted. Yeah. Yes, exactly. It loses the specialness of it. That's why I didn't want to do Drawn Opal Pink every year. Because it would lose the specialness. Now, of course, you know, Reaper's brought it out in the Kickstarter set, right? But that's fine. I mean, I produced it for Reaper. I produced it while I was at Reaper, so if Reaper wants to use the formula, I'm okay. Now, back when I had first done it, if Ed had just trounced in and said, no, we're just going to put this in general release, I would have said, but, I would have actually been kind of offended because it was supposed to be something special. But sometimes we don't get to choose that either, right? But I'm going to protect that right for Mocha at this point. That's my own call. Until such time as is made clear to me by Mocha or her representatives that she does not care. Yes, exactly. We would not have a certain rolling soul. Yep. Yes, life it is an unending series of disappointments. Yes. Mixed in with really cool stuff, to be honest. But, All right, so now I want to get that gray mixed up. And there's a little bit of brown in this. It's carbon, stone gray, and cloudy. So I have to dig out my stone gray. There it is. But yeah, I really like Mocha, and I wouldn't risk hurting her by doing that personally. If it were me, I'd be like, no, I can't do that one, sorry. And like you say, maybe it doesn't matter to her at all. But maybe it does, so until we know. Never assume. Like I said, I don't have Mocha's contact info at my fingertips, so I can't ask. Gonna get my drop of carbon gray in here. There we go. It was just being sluggish. Yeah. Well, I mean, if they ask on Facebook and Ron asks Mocha and Mocha says yes, then great. But I mean, or John sees it and asks Ron, and Mocha says okay. But it's not. We're not making that decision. I think that's Reaper can always overrule this. But if it were me, I would err on the side of respecting the person who originally asked for it, because it was. If it was just like a fun kind of, Mocha won a contest and she got to choose this paint and she chose it, that'd be a little different. But context, I think, is meaningful on this one. And yeah, Reaper could just like ignore Mocha's wishes and could just make it, but I just don't that doesn't make me feel good, guys. It doesn't make me feel good. I have no idea, Val. I mean, the person who she lost, who she had that paint made for, was her mod. Her streaming mod. So, it could well be, and I understand this because I'm lucky enough to have Quindy mod my stream when I stream on Saturday, right? And for a while I ran without a mod, and it didn't feel great. Because I used to have a mod, but then they just kind of fell out of the hobby. They had problems with stuff and had to just kind of dropped off the face of the earth. So, if I had to guess, I mean, sometimes we go through periods of our life where we really just don't paint. I'm special then. Also, I'm in good company because I'm pretty sure that Luca is one of those people. Yeah, Michael was AWOL for 7 years, right? And now look at him. Ah, nice. That's pretty cool. Trash. When he doesn't irritate you. Yes, I know. So then you cease following him, but then you always return, so he's vindicated. All right, and we're going to also base coat the sword blade. And then I think I'm going to do the black on the handle here, and we're going to just, can't attach the arm yet. I hate that I can't attach the arm because it goes across body. Crossbody blades are the worst thing. Can I just say that? That's like my personal opinion. The glove is black on his hands, so I'm going to put that in. But this part is not really even going to be seen because it's like turned against the body. So I'm just going to get the handle of the sword painted in black. Yeah, right. Gap fill blocks it, makes it solid. Yes. Right. Well, yeah, because we like, I mean, our mods are our mods because we really enjoy their company and they're reliable and cool and we like them, right? They save us from trolls and spammers. Just doing a little bit of retouch here. Okay. And then we'll get the blade. And I need a line around all those little buttons too. Suck. I'm just very lucky to have a Quindy, that's all. Super lucky. When Quindy can't make my stream, I'm tempted not to stream at all. Sometimes I stream anyway, but then the trolls can have their way with us. And the spammers. Mostly we get spammers. We haven't gotten a troll for a long time. I'm too little to attract trolls. Nice, put a nice solid base coat on this. Putting the carbon gray in helps with coverage. It's a very, very high coverage gray. It darkens down the blade a bit. That's okay though. It gives us lots of room to work up. And it makes it a little easier to put the dark shadows onto the steel because we have less room to blend. And we don't have as far to go if we start with a darker gray. Quindy. I mean, you know it's true because I bought models at I got models at Reaper with you in mind. Yes, the rest of you have to rely on multiple bots. Oh wow. Yeah, that's cool, Hyper. Monstrous encounters. Since it's for a chair for like to help with personal stuff. Take a look at it. Alright, got that set up anyway. Alright, at least we got the freaking arm base coated. We'll get some of those started. I actually watched Black Rose the other night, so like she's the one with the cool dress and the frilly stand up collar and the little bat friend. She'll be pretty. She's simple, but maybe we can do some freehand on that dress. All right, and then gray on these little buckles, and we'll start doing some highlighting. There's just so many little doodads in here. I have no idea what they are. And this silver thing is all silver, so I need to get it figured out. I wish it had a color. And then that other thing there. Yeah, she'll be fun. We can do very gothy girl on her. Give her that purple red hair and the really pale skin. And the black lipstick. Or dark purple lipstick. I haven't decided. And then there's like Evil Cleric guy who I'm totally gonna do also like totally goth boy. All right. I think, except for our little potentially green bottle, the only reason we would put that in green would be to make our reds all more intense. I need to do the stopper though. Cool, thanks for the tip off, Hyper. Alright, and I probably want actually to make the little buttons on the front of here gold as well. But I want to actually get my brown liner up first and do those, do the liner around those first. And we've got a bunch of other lining. But yeah, she and the Hellborn Paladin. I haven't decided what I want to do with the Hellborn Paladin yet. I may do white armor with her, because I don't think we've done it. The last paladin we did was lava. Fire and lava. Yeah, anything more than $20 and I have to stop and think about it, but if I could get that much for like, I think doing like $20 is definitely impulse buy territory, Hyper, and that's why, as you say. Plus, you know, it's all stuff from the past, and I mean, he's gonna keep sculpting, so the hope is that people who buy all that stuff and enjoy it might, you know, sub to his Patreon or do whatever he's, you know, doing. Come back and buy more, right? Reaper Goth Box. Tool Goth Tips. Reaper Goth Tips. I'll have to paint the Paladin in like all white armor. Just so that like... Just so we can like counter it a little bit. You know, we need our contrast. Alrighty. You can imagine it's a Victorian vampire anyway. You can do that. You could totally do that. That's cool. I'm cool with that. Alright. I'm still not really convinced on that green, guys. Not convinced I want to paint that green. Part of me is just fighting that. I don't like the idea. I'm much more likely to make it orange. To repeat the orange. Or red. I just don't feel the green. And sometimes you look at it and it just does not make sense for you. And even though, you know, a world-class artist is like making those color decisions, you just decide to nope out. That's valid, everybody. That's absolutely valid. You can nope out on it anytime you want. EQ Soul Void Emporium box. I just want to line a little bit in here. And if you don't have the brush control to line after you base coat, you can absolutely line before and then just touch it up. It's up to you how you want to do it. I want to put liner over these, but the way I'm going to do these gold buttons is I'm going to cover them with liner, then I'm going to put a white dot, then I'm going to go over them with the gold base coat. Hey there, Trojan. I need white, though, to do that, so I need to mix it up. I'm overall happy with this model. All right, got my weight, 4:1-ish. You can also just use it straight for this if you want to. Nope. Man, okay, I need to go to Tiny Brush. Tiny Brush, this brush is not working. Save me, Tiny Brush, you're my only hope. We have not yet had microwave popcorn burst into flame in our house, though David does make it. Yeah, Tiny Brush is working a bit better. Sometimes with a really long bristle brush, when you're trying to do this stuff, it just doesn't give you the control you need. The smaller brushes, although they have less capacity to carry fluid, are nonetheless shorter bristles, and sometimes you can get away with doing these little tiny things a little bit easier. Tiny Brush to the tune of Tiny Dancer. For some reason you said Tiny Dancer, and instead of thinking of Elton John, I thought of Tina Turner's Private Dancer. Totally different song, folks. Except tiny brushes can't count the headlights on the highway. All right. That's even worse, Trash. It's closer, though. It's much more like, you know, painting inappropriate than the inappropriate than the Tiny Dancer. I wonder if it's if you don't shake it up enough and it's got like a concentration of oil in one pocket and then the heat just it makes it burst into flame. That's my guess about how you would actually immolate microwave popcorn. I can't think of any other reason it would go that way. I put some paint on my little Skaven engineer last night. Overwatch is on again, so I decided to watch Overwatch and paint on my rat. Took me a while to figure out what I wanted to do with his reds, and I'm still not quite there. Also, that's kind of a pain in the butt model because, like, you want to put it together before you start painting it, but when you do put it together, it's very hard to reach a couple of areas. Definitely not optimal. Alright, so because I underpainted white, I can see the buttons, which is good. They'll stand out. I like that one, Valandar. Okay. You can't go wrong with Tina Turner, really. I was very sad when she passed away. Alrighty, and a little bit more. Obviously, I don't have quite a good base coat on that cylinder yet. Stupid cylinder. Nobody likes you, cylinder. Dishonor so you can live a burnt popcorn-free life. I just don't eat popcorn. Like, except for, like, sometimes, like at Reaper, I did eat some popcorn because it was Ed's old popcorn machine, and Ron, it was my second to last day there, and Ron is like, this is your last chance for Ed's popcorn, and I was like, oh, I have to eat some in memory of Ed. But generally, I don't eat popcorn. I'm kind of to the point where I'm avoiding corn in general. Except for very rare, like maybe twice a summer, we'll have sweet corn on the cob. Yeah, that is its primary purpose. You're right, Valandar. But I can eat things that like make my gut feel better that are also butter transfer devices. So more popcorn for the rest of you. Still a healthier snack than a lot of things for most people. I do miss cream corn. I used to eat that a lot as a kid. And I do make jalapeno cornbread. So those are my exceptions. My corn celebrity exceptions are all right, I do make cornbread when we have chili, which is usually twice a year or so. Maybe 3 times, depending. It's high calories, so I don't make it as much anymore. And then we eat corn on the cob a couple times during the summer. And maybe I have popcorn a couple times a year, but that's it. I would never do habanero cornbread, but I really like. I don't like just like cornbread anymore. Like it's got to be jalapeno cornbread for me. All right. I'm gonna line around the sword. We're getting there. Everything is base coated now except for our little bottle, which I have to make a decision about. Yeah, I bet. Yeah, the street corn. I'm just not a big corn fan. It doesn't do a lot. It doesn't do a lot for my gut these days, so it's just continuous trial and error on what works for the gut. Alright. Why does he have a little Tyranid Ripper on his sword? Okay, this is totally a Tyranid Ripper. It totally is. Look. Look. It's got a little tail. It's got a little mouth. It's got an eyeball. This is totally a Ripper Swarm Ripper. Like, why do we have a Ripper Swarm Ripper and a Gene Stealer, a female Gene Stealer, on our on our sword? I want to know. Inquiring minds want to know. Corn pudding. Interesting, Crowley. Anglerfish to you, yeah. I don't know. It said Ripper Swarm to me. It just goes to show you that like art is constant active interpretation by the recipient and no one can say what's right or wrong. I'm looking forward to having our little latkes tonight. I'm gonna make I'm making tri-tip. Tri-tip, and we'll have latkes, and we'll have I don't know, maybe salad. It's strawberry season, so I should go get some strawberries and we should have a strawberry salad. Strawberry vinaigrette, feta cheese, toasted almonds, you know, the whole thing. Ah, yeah, hush puppies. Yep, those are tasty. Yeah, I used to make oat cakes. I really liked those. That's like oatmeal in a cake. When I first went gluten-free, I tried to do oat cakes instead of pancakes. They're just heavy, but they were tasty. You're funny. You're funny, Trashrama. Potato pancakes. I got some from Costco, and they're super tasty. And I've been staring at them in the refrigerator. I could have had one last night, but I had already somewhat splurged on calories earlier in the day, so I passed. But tonight I can totally have one. So I'm doing a little bit of brown lining just to bring out the details, some of the details here on this hilt. And then I'll do the rest of the detailing with highlights. Air popper is better anyway, health-wise, isn't it? All right. All right, I'll give in. I'm going to just do red on this little bottle, I think, or red-orange. Fried venison. Yeah, you could do fried venison cutlets with potato pancakes. I can't get good venison around here except for ground. It's a sad state of affairs for a Wisconsin girl. David isn't as into the venison as I am anyway. Just grabbing a tiny bit of red. And again, I'm going to underpaint this red with white so that it will be bright. So we'll go over here to the little potion bottle and we'll paint it white. And then we can go over and grab our bright red. Any bright red will do. The brightest is either going to be clear red or fire red or brilliant red. Those are the colors that are the most saturated reds as far as intensity goes. And that's going to make that red pop out a bit more so you can see it. Austin has all of the, like, Texas in general has a ton of good bourbon and whiskey distillers now. There we go. So we've got a bunch of brighter red in here. Alrighty. Now let's work on, we've got all the ingredients to do our silver, so let's actually work on getting all these little buckles and stuff highlighted. I can actually just really quick do a red highlight on some of this stuff too, i.e. pink. So I'm going to just do a little bit of light at the very bottom here. Up here on this glass bottle, I can just use white and do kind of a top highlight, the big pop of white. All right, so yeah, we have black, we have dark gray, we have white, so we just need a lighter gray in order to do some silver NMM. I already have stone gray mixed into this, so it is a little bit not pure gray, so that's good. We need that. I could choose to do a different color if I wanted at this point. If I wanted to add a slightly different color, I need to definitely put more water in this to keep it good. And then I drop some white into my gray to make it a light gray. And I'm going to need to add water. Let's see how that comes out. There we go. So we got that. And we've got this. We need to throw a lot of water into this black. Because we're not using gray liner, and instead we're using black for our shadows, we need to thin our black down a lot. And I'll probably mix it a little bit with my gray when I will be putting shadows on. Okay, I'm going to grab my light gray and kind of test it on this little cylinder. I need to make a line of highlight going down the front. There we go. Do a dark shadow. Then on this side I want another dark shadow. I was doing my black thinned and then going over it with some of my dark gray. To blend it in. So I've got kind of this stripe, this dark stripe going up on either side of my highlight. Now I'm going to put a white stripe down the middle of that highlight. That's cool. Hyper Bunny. Yeah, to get that white. I have it thinned a little, but and sometimes I might need to pop that down a little. Let me see. I'm gonna So I put a glaze of the dark gray over that because I wanted to blend it in a little bit more. It was just a little, standing out a little bit too much. Doing NMM on really small surfaces. Sometimes you're going to have to go back and forth a bit. And I want to make make sure that I've got a white white highlight on both top and bottom to link those areas. So I'm going to get those in. Get my gray on either side of that. Oof. I'll highlight all over the top of it. Gone a little far, so I need to touch that up. Doing this kind of model with all of this detail in the middle is just fiddly. Like, it's just, you're gonna blorf it. You're gonna have to go back and touch it up. Like, it's inevitable. Just do what you can. I cannot remember any of those Texas places. I was vaguely familiar with stuff like north and south of Denton. I'm going to put a little bit of water into my pure white. Just like one drop. So I can build it up more on the center of the cylinder here. I'm a little bit better here in California as far as understanding where things are. But I think that's because it's not just you're in the middle of some big state. Like, I feel like out here you've got the bay. Like, and you've got the isthmus, and then you've got the north of the bay, and the east of the bay, and like the south of the bay, right? I mean, we're in South Bay. And I feel like that makes it easier for me to like visualize where everything is down here or out here. Because I have the Bay, San Francisco, and the Bay to Orient. There we go. That's Texas. Banana pudding, so Texas. So Texas. I can't have it anymore. Bananas are bad for me now. I might be able to have the banana pudding depending on how much actual banana there was in it. But actual bananas are right out. And that's sad because they used to be my favorite fruit. Now I react really badly to them. Alright, so that is our cylinder. But yeah, in Texas, I felt like everything was just like Texas. So I had a hard time like understanding like where things were relative to each other. There we go. Yay, cylinder is shiny. Cylinder, one of the most annoying things on this thing. Oh hey, I see another opportunity to put a piece of red on here. There's a little space with something that looks like a gem. There we go. More red. Yeah, I just feel like he like looked at that green and he was just like, no way. Like he's totally a goth boy. Like he doesn't want any green on him. For sure. We're almost done. Almost to the end of stream. Tomorrow I have to be careful because it's Luca Day. And I won't have extra time. So I need to be more on time. Alrighty. What? You mean Grapevine isn't the wine capital of Texas? It seems like the other town should be named Grapevine if it's the actual wine capital of Texas. Seems like it has the wrong name. I remember going down to Grapevine to have sushi with Ed and Dave and Matt Clark. I forget, I think Kevin was there too. That was early Reaper days. I forget what the occasion was. I think they just did it every once in a while, the owners. But it was actually where I got back into sushi, like big time. It's funny that it took moving to Texas to like get me seriously into sushi. But I blame Ed and Dave for that. It was tasty. Then went all the way down there because there was a place I really liked down there. But now there's a place I really like in Denton, so I always go there. Just trying to put a little bit of a shadow in here. And there. Yeah, Fox, you're not a Buc-ee's fan. I also am not a Buc-ee's fan. I think I've only been to one in my life, and it didn't even have the best snack food. It's an experience for sure. It's a Texas experience, but I feel like it's those tourist traps when you're driving on the highway from the Midwest out to the West. You know. I don't want to know what beaver nuggets are. Cheese curds, basically. I see. I come from Wisconsin. We have real cheese curds there. Not that Wisconsin has a monopoly on cheese curds. They wish they did. I've actually experienced good cheese curds in other places. Alright. So that buckle's kind of like out there. Needs more gray. When everything starts going white, you know that you've gotten away from it a little bit. Had to interrupt it. Yeah, there we go. I believe that not all Buc-ee's are equal. I can see that. I kind of want to do that drive again. Like I was talking about all the tourist traps out on what I-90 is it? I-90 or 94? I forget which one goes straight west from Wisconsin. But I really like that drive. I realized it when I drove with Kiki. When I had to do that tremendous 3.5 day drive to get Kiki from her breeder to our home. And I was always exhausted, but like I really enjoy that drive. I really would like to do it again, just without a tiny, needy puppy with diarrhea. That does sound like fun, Twisted Oma. Except that, like, when I go shopping, I, like, run out of oomph so fast. I don't think I could do, like, that much. Like, even, like, yarn shop hop, right? Would be the equivalent for me since I don't do quilting. But, like, after 2 shops, I think I'd be done. I'd be just cashed out. I just want to, like, go home with my treasures and get stuck in. There we go. We got our silver. I want to get our little bottle stopper up there, and then we can call it. I haven't done any knitting recently, but I kind of committed in my mind to like working on my GW stuff in the evenings. But tonight is CrossFit, so I don't know if I'm going to have any oomph after that to do it. Usually after CrossFit, I like, once I ice my knees and everything, it's like, time to take a shower and go to bed. I don't have a lot of extra time to paint after CrossFit. I-90. Thanks. Oh, that's good to know, Trashy. I didn't know that. Thanks. Yeah, I didn't realize the 0 ones were the ones that went east-west. And then you've got the weirdos like Route 66 and I-94 that does like a kind of that way. Well, I guess I come in on 90, go up on 94, so that makes sense. Thinking about when I was driving from the East Coast out to Wisconsin. I've driven both. Like I've driven from the East Coast to Wisconsin, and I've driven from Wisconsin to the West Coast. Of the 2 drives, like driving west, I don't know, just driving west in the United States, it's just an amazing experience. I love it. Like there's just, I think it comes from when my first real big family vacation was when we drove from Wisconsin to Yellowstone. And then we drove up into Canada and went to Banff. And I was maybe, I don't know, 10 or 11, I think. And my brother was like 7 or 6. And he was scared to drive over the mountains because he thought we were just going to drive up to the mountain and do that. Because he was 6. Then you got to take the more northerly route. You got to go up through the Dakotas and then go, Although going south, sure, I guess there's some boring territory, but like even then, even when you're driving on that long, like flat, like arid plains type of country before you hit like the Badlands and the Dakotas, like what's coming. I feel like that long stretch of boring actually like is the payoff is getting out of that and hitting the real stuff. Like the same thing happens when you drive, like I used to drive up to Santa Fe from Denton all the time. And you always have like that big space in like the north part of Texas around Amarillo where it's just like desert. It's just flat. There's just nothing. And then when you start getting close, when you get into New Mexico, then you start seeing like these cool outcroppings. And then you're getting closer and closer to like Albuquerque, Santa Fe. And then when you get through Albuquerque and like you're getting towards Santa Fe and you do a turn and suddenly like there are mountains like in your face and it's awesome. So I feel like a day of flat driving, like I never mind because I like to kind of ruminate when I'm in the car, just think about like my book that I'm working on or whatever, I like to think a lot. So for me, road trips are good thinky excursions, but part of that payoff, I think, for me, is having that day and a half of boring, because then when things start to change, it's just so exciting. Breaking down the Rockies. Oh no. Yeah. That would not be good trash. I'm going to do a little bit of a shadow here. Just to remind myself that I still have to do this chest plate. And part of this chest plate, a good part of it is facing upward, so it only starts cutting down there, so that's why I'm doing kind of a little V of shadow. But yeah, I just remember driving out with Kiki, and even though I was like totally short on sleep because of baby puppy in my hotel room, like we just stopped at a rest stop, like out, gosh, I think Montana, I don't remember, but it really was like big sky country. Like you got out of the car and like there were like mountains in the distance and there were hills, but the sky was huge. And it was like, here around where I live, there's so many trees, and I never would complain about that because it's beautiful where I live. But at the same time, you can't just see the sky. Like, there's nowhere where you're just out in the middle of the country with the sky, right? I got used to that in Texas. Texas has beautiful skies. But yeah, here it's much more about like trees, forest, mountains. Like there's always something over your head or in the way of seeing, just seeing the sky. All right, I think we're going to stop there, guys. Despite the fact that it looks like we didn't do a lot, we did actually get quite a bit done. Now we're clear to just highlight. So we got most of our silver covered, except for that. So I'll have to do a little bit of light gray, but that's all right. I still need to highlight the arm and the gray down here anyway, so we'll need to mix up a light gray again anyway. Oh, nice, Michael. Yes, thank you, everybody. Yeah, long stream. It's okay. Tomorrow we have to be good and get off for Luca. I hope you all have a lovely day. Thank you for coming. Tomorrow is, hold on. Oh, I might have to sculpt tomorrow. I want to finish the hat. This is Bird Guy. But yeah, I want to finish the hat a little bit by highlighting up there. Otherwise, though, I feel like we did everything. Like now, the only thing left for me, other than the base, is to sculpt the top. So maybe we have to finally do a dive and sculpt the top for the bird. Cool, Michael. You might be able to. Depends on the Reaper Wi-Fi and whether you're in favor that day. But thank you all so much, and we'll be back with Bird Guy tomorrow. If I decide I'm not up for sculpting, then we'll start a different model. Maybe we'll start our Hellborn Paladin or Black Rose. All right? Thank you all. Yes, I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.